Yo, what's up, family? Happy Wind Down Wednesdays, and welcome back to Kicking It with Kickie. I hope everyone is having an amazing week. The weather is nice. Just for these next, well, it has been for these past 2 days, I believe. So one more day, and then we're back in that triple degree weather here where I am. So, cheers. Got me some sparkling water. Let's bring it on in. What's up, girls? What's up, guys? So I got me some notes here today, and I just want to talk about handling FOMO. I do want to read a scripture that I found that correlates with today's message from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 11 through 12, and it reads, "Make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. Then people who are not believers will respect the way you live, and you will not need to depend on others." In a sum, mind your own business, do your work, and do what works for you. The fear of missing out, if you don't know, well, FOMO. FOMO is the fear of missing out. So the fear of missing out can be the anxiety or apprehension surrounding missing out on things in regards to social media, social events, i.e. losing your phone, missing out on the conversations with those on the phone that are gossiping about something and it's really not your business. So all those things can play a part in the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out can also have you believing that others are living a better life than you and that they're more satisfying or important than yours. The truth is, though, that we all play an important role in how we move and act in this world. FOMO can have an effect on us in different ways, and I do believe that we have all experienced that at some time, if not now, depending on where you are in your journey of growth, enlightenment, or whatever that may be or look like. It can be a perception when it comes to feeling like you're missing out on something. You create these perceptions and compulsive behavior to maintain certain connections. I personally have known people like that are compulsive to just being so quick to build connections with people and not really getting to know them. And I think also I can say honestly, like I have done that in building trying to build a friendship, and I thought I was doing it from the goodness of my heart and not realizing that I was being used for something else. And that can also happen in relationships, so which I'm sure we've all experienced. And it is not a good feeling. Sometimes FOMO can lead to being at unease, depression, stress, dissatisfaction, and dissatisfaction with your own life because you're not taking the time to actually look around and see like what you have now and being appreciative for those things instead of allowing these other thoughts to creep into our minds, these other emotions to creep into our minds that make us feel less than just based off what we see other people having or the experiences that we believe that they're having, and it looks like it's a good time. And we can't base things on a photo or a snippet of a video when we're not seeing the whole picture. And it's just, if you don't want to feel like you're missing out, call up your friends, call up your family, whoever it is you hang out with. You know, if you're in a relationship, whatever that case may be, but create your own memories. Say something for yourself. You don't have to post everything either. So it's just, you want to have something sacred for yourself, and just because people don't see it, it doesn't mean that you're not living a good life. And as much as we see a lot of things going on, you may be okay with yourself and content with your life until you look at something and you feel like, man, what am I doing? But you're okay if you're happy with what you've been doing and you've been having a good time. You are right where you're supposed to be. You don't have to be doing what the whole world is doing, you know? Also, if you want to get over the fear of missing out, changing your focus to what's present, being in the moment of things, and that's back to creating those memories and not having to feel like you gotta put things up just for people to see that you're doing things. Being in the moment is a different feeling because sometimes you don't get to pull out your phone or pull out that camera and just be like, oh, let me get this, because you can't redo something that's already been done in that moment, because then it's not genuine, it's not authentic. And just to have that memory for yourself, that's a feeling that is always gonna be with you, and it's more meaningful to you than it may be to other people that may see it. Don't focus on what you're lacking and modify things that will appear more positive in your life. So, i.e., who you're following, who you are friends with in life. Modify those things based on what you currently need in your life to make you feel like I'm living a healthy and positive life. If you're following people that make you feel like you're not doing anything in life, maybe you should change that. Follow people that are going to inspire you. Talk to people that are going to inspire you, and not always being negative about things or feeling like they're making it seem like they're better than you as well. Keeping a gratitude journal. I talk about journaling a lot because when you don't have nothing to say, just say what you're grateful for. It can just be that I have somewhere to stay, I have somewhere to put my feet, I have somewhere to sleep. I'm grateful for those things. And that takes you far, because once you get outside and you see people that are less fortunate than you and don't have these things, you could be in that place and you are sitting here complaining about the very things that you see someone else have and forget about what you've been blessed with. Outside of being social, online, on the worldwide internet, make sure we're making meaningful connections that are face to face. That means a lot because you really get to see, facial expressions, tones of voice, just all of that and in between. I'm sure we've all been in positions where we've thought like someone was our friend based off of an online connection, and you actually get to meet them and start hanging out, and that may not be the case for everybody. It's a lesson learned, and that's it. So we move forward. And I just, at that time you're just thinking like, oh, I got a genuine heart. And it doesn't mean that, you have to be cold towards people just because of one incident that happened, but be mindful and using that discernment and know when, if I seen this behavior this first time, I think I'm gonna see it again. Because usually when people show you who they are the first time, that's who they are. Let's move on. So realizing that FOMO is an emotion driven by our thoughts, which I said, and we have to learn how to control those emotions. And FOMO can ultimately make you lose your sense of self. You forget who you are, and you can become so inauthentic that you're showing up as a whole different person in this world, code switching, and not even in a sense of, the way that in that sense, code switching is code switching. The way you speak, the way you show up for yourself, the way you put yourself together, what you put on, and you can be mimicking someone else's life and it's not even you. And then when something happens, it's like, okay, who am I? When you've had like a lot of time to really just figure out who you are and who you're becoming. So I do have a few questions. Have you ever experienced FOMO, and how do you or how did you handle it? Whether you're in it now or you experienced it before. I personally, when I was really trying to get to know who I was, I experienced a lot of just back and forth with myself about who I really was. And this was during like my times in like middle school, high school, because I did things differently. And oftentimes, yeah, you get talked about when you're different, or people like you're weird, or just did certain things. And I never really showed that it bothered me, but when I did get home, like I would just kind of just shut myself down, and that was just my coping mechanism. But I would still get up and just do who I knew I would be. And it took for me to like gain that confidence all around and not feel like I have to go hide myself after being who I am for the day because what people said. Once I built that confidence in myself, it really just let me know like I'm that girl. I am that girl, okay? I'm the vibe. I am the vibe. And that's an affirmation, okay? If you are not invited to something, how does it usually make you feel? A moment of transparency for you and for me. I don't feel that way in my adult life, and it's been for quite some time. I've moved around quite a lot, and a lot of things that I've done is just kind of being like by myself, and that's what made me just kind of be like okay with not being invited to everything. But there was times, before being out of school and graduating and moving on into my own space and things. When you didn't get invited or you feel like your friends wasn't talking to you, it made you feel some kind of way, which it did. And that's okay. But once you learn to be content with what you have and who you are as a person, you're okay with missing out on a couple of vibes because maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe it wasn't my vibe anyway. A lot of the things that I did miss out on or didn't get invited to, I have come to the conclusion that I'm glad that I did because I found my own stride. I found my own way in what I believe to be great energy and just an experience. I'm an experience. You want to be around me, like, you know what I mean? Okay. Do you think FOMO can become intensive and become a distraction to focusing on important goals? Is everything we miss out on going to be an awarding experience? I do think that when you have the fear of missing out, it can become a distraction because you tend to let go of what you're supposed to be focusing on for yourself, and you're focused more on the life of someone else. Even if it's just not someone else, I mean, fear of missing out is pretty much you seeing other people. So call a spade, okay? You can lose hope for yourself. You can lose a lot of stuff. And when you look up and you see those people not doing stuff anymore, it's like, okay, now what are you going to have to look at? Because you had all this time to be working on what you were supposed to be working on for you. And you let all these distractions get away. And that just goes back to changing our minds and being emotionally mature enough to be like, okay, I need to be on top of this. Like, this gonna be there. Because you may not have time to watch the shows that everyone watch. You may not have time to be on the phone 24/7. And that's okay. Like, if you feel like you're missing out that much, I don't know. I don't know. I personally I don't know what to tell you, but to just really be honest with yourself. When some months have passed by and you haven't done any of the things that you said you was gonna do, it's just bringing in more procrastination of when you're supposed to get done, because you just keep putting it off, and it's like, I've been sitting on this phone. What turned out to be a few minutes turned out to be hours, and hours turned into the whole day, and you like, what did I do all day today? So we just gotta be better at making sure that we are leading a life that helps us with our own characteristics. We all know that things now can create false illusions of how people are actually living online versus day to day. The pictures at the party you missed or didn't get invited to looked phenomenal, but how was the true experience in being there? Like I said, we can't base how things really were off a picture or a small snippet of a video. People take great pictures. We don't know what else went on behind the scenes because we missed out, and who's to say that we needed to be there at that time, or a place where we were supposed to be, because anything could have happened, things could have went differently, and then you at the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's just, to me, finding the good in things when you're not invited. And it's okay. Like, I honestly feel like the things that are meant for me, and can't nobody take that away. And the world didn't give it to me, the world can't take it away. God has my best interest at heart, and the promises that He has for me, I believe that they're gonna be given to me in due time if they haven't already, and I stand on that. So, is it something that you really wish so bad that you were doing, or is it because everyone you know was there? Sometimes such sign of impulsive distractions mean we may need to change how we are doing something or readjusting our focus for better growth of ourselves. Is it something that I'm missing out on that will be adding value to me right now if I were to also go? Also, could you be using things you are missing out on to create fantasy of how you wish your life to be? A lot of things that I've already touched on. Missing out on certain things that don't hold value to you. Or when you do find yourself being a part of the things, do you still feel value of yourself? Do you feel like you're switching up on yourself? And I feel like when we're conscious of the things we're doing at that point in time, we're honest with ourselves in those moments. It's just like being around a lot of people, and you can still feel like you're the only one in the room. You don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, and so many things are just going on around you, and it's like, what am I doing? You know? I for one have been in situations like this, so I can honestly say that's not a good feeling, because you start to feel like where's my life going? You know? So that's something to think about. Creating fantasies. I don't know. I think people know. We assume that people will know because it's common sense that you're not to be creating a fantasy life based off of what someone else is doing. It's okay to manifest the life you want and live the life that you want for yourself. But the moment you start trying to do what someone else is doing, that's when you lose it. You lose yourself. And you're gonna be 4-5 years down the line and be like, what was I doing this whole time? Because we all gonna have that point where we're like, the light bulb goes off and it's like, okay, I can either change my mind and change the way I'm doing things now, or this gonna continue to be a pattern. My closing question for you guys is, Although FOMO is the natural desire for all of us at some point of our life, how will you choose to exist and altering your thoughts and in the process when this occurs, if it should present itself to you? How will you determine how you move forward? How will you change your thought process? How will you make sure that you're showing up for yourself in an authentic way and not feeling like you're missing out on something? How will you show gratitude for your life now and for where you're headed, not based off of someone else, but based off your hard work, your quietness, and your hands being at work because of what you want to accomplish yourself. So I would love for you guys to answer that in the comments if you feel, you know, initiated to, if that's the right word to be used. I hope that you guys continue to have a blessed week this week. Continue to show up for yourself. Continue to do things in love and not for love. Peace and love.